so we will now want to add our analog inputs and output. So I'm going to take you shortly on that. And just like we did for the digital input and output. So we'll come to IO configurations, we'll click on new module. Let me drag this in here. So deselect this and we'll click on analog, and then we'll come to Rockwell Automation / Allen Bradley. And here we've seen several types of analog inputs. So let's choose this 1756 IF16H. So we're going to click on create, and this will bring up another dialog box. And here we could name our analog input module as analog, for example. Then we'll come to the connections, and then a requested packet interval. We're gonna set that. You can, if you want to, for commissioning purposes, you can go to the inhibit module and you can check this to, if you want to be sure of your module, all right, that there are no faults. All right, then we can come to module info, configurations tab. Now these configurations, sorry, let's go back to okay, now let's come back to configuration. Now you'll see that there are 16 channels here from 0 to 15. All right, so you can enable HART, and when you come over here, you'd see that there is the high signal and the low signal, and these are in milliamps. So the low signal is 4 milliamps and the high signal is 20 milliamps. Now these are common with analog input that bring in signals from the field. For example, like a level transmitter, so it converts this value, this scaled value, to an engineering value here, which is in 0 to 100%. So that is just how this works, and you can set the input range 0 to 20 or 4 milliamps to 20, depends on you. You can do your offset, your digital filter, and all of that. Now we can come to calibration, and you can run your setup how you would like it to run. And once you're done, you click on OK and click on close. Now you see that your analog signal input module is here. Now that is how you can add an analog input module. All right, so to add your analog output module, same thing. We'll right click, come to new modules, then we'll repeat the procedure we did before. But let's take all right, let's take this OF8H. So once we create, now we can, let's call it output. And you could name it however you want to name it. Now this will be in slot 4. This will be in slot 4. Now if you look at this section, you'll see that the controller is first, the digital module is on slot 1, the analog input module is in slot 2, the digital output module is in slot 3. So we can now put our digital analog output module in slot 4. We can come to the connection tab here. We can set our requested packet interval. Remember what that is. and we can come to configuration. Then we can also remember this is an 8-channel output, analog output module. So you can choose the channel you want to configure, and then you configure that. All right, these are the scaled values, these are the engineering values here, the output range as usual. So you check all of that and you come to the output state. Now this is important because this output state in program mode and then output state in fault mode, they are two different things. So you need to be able to configure them adequately so that there are no issues on the factory floor or wherever the process is going on. So these things need to be set properly. Now we have the ramp rate here. Now so this can actually be set. Now we have the limit, and the limit tells us things about the alarms. Let me put it that way. Okay, yeah. So we have the ramp rate. Now ramp in run mode actually specifies the limit at which the analog signal changes, to prevent damage to the output device. So you can set this to whatever seconds because there are output devices out there in the factory floor. So we wouldn't want them to get damaged as a result of voltages, so we need to ramp the voltage in run mode so that it limits the speed at which the analog signal changes to prevent damage to the output device. So you can use here to set your high and low, come to calibration, and once we are done with all of this and it's okay to our eyes, then we can click on OK. Ramp rate must be okay. So let me disable this and click OK. All right, so once we're done, now our analog output has been added to our project. So here now we can now proceed to writing our logic and ensuring that everything works out fine. So before you select all of these modules, you need to ensure that this is actually what works for your project, so that if you need to purchase them, you're not making any mistake and you're doing what you actually had in mind to accomplish. Okay, so that's the end of our video that is on configuring local input and output models. So I believe in this lesson we've been able to learn how to add an IO module to the IO configuration stack, and I also know that we've been able to learn how to configure a local IO module. Thanks for watching. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, don't forget to share, and don't forget to subscribe for more simplified PLC lessons using Studio 5000. So we'll keep learning, we'll keep building, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.